because I think what's going on with your Detroit Pistons is disgraceful. I mean, you want to talk about a rudderless ship right now. Pistons lose their fifth straight. The best part is you had Spencer Dinwiddie taking out his Dinwiddie dagger and slapping Stan around, hitting the buzzer beater. It's one of Stan's only good draft picks, and you traded him. You lose to the Nets, which is inexcusable. The Nets are a bad basketball team. And you're losers of 5 straight. You're now out of the playoffs. You're under 500. And, if you look at the schedule, I think we're kind of on the precipice of a full-blown collapse. If they lose to Utah here, I believe tomorrow night, if they lose to Utah, you're staring at 9 straight losses because they'll play OKC and then they'll play Cleveland back-to-back. Now, I'm being upfront with you. I'm rooting for him to lose 9 in a row. Stan Van Gundy must be fired. This is outrageous. You're $3.5 million underneath the luxury tax, and this is the roster you have. Now, I understand Reggie Jackson's hurt, but all teams have injuries. All teams are dealing with stuff. This is an absolute bleep show. I mean, everything from the crowd size to the style of play. I mean, guys, when you're watching these games, look at the Pistons bench. I mean, you don't have anybody with a future making money in basketball. Eric Moreland, Langston Galloway, Bikes, Boban. I mean, Luke Kennard is all you got. It's a sad scene. But it's like we talked a week ago. Now they're under 500. Now they're the 9 seed, right? You're looking up at teams like Philly. Reggie Jackson is not coming back for a couple of weeks. These trade deadline reports are beyond scary. I mean, to me, if you're a Pistons fan, I feel bad for you. You have no present and you have no future. And I'll say it again to you. The trade deadline is coming up February 8th. You must make decisions on people like Avery Bradley. I'll give you another one. Notice how Charlotte is recognizing that they're not going to be able to take great strides forward. The roster that they built with Kemba Walker and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist and Marvin Williams and Nicholas Batum, it's not good enough. And what they're doing is now, with Kemba Walker, not a free agent this year, but at the end of next year, they're going to cash in. And they'll probably attach a bad contract to Kemba, get some assets, and reset their franchise. Okay? That's exactly what you should be doing with Tobias Harris. Now, Tobias is not as good as Kemba Walker. By the way, Kemba was a guy you could have drafted. You opted for Brandon Knight. The point is, I think it's very important if you're a fan in this city to pay attention over the next couple of weeks. We're sitting here on January 22nd. Pay attention to what happens in the next 3 weeks because I think it could shape the next 2 to 3 years of your franchise. If you go into this trade deadline and you try to buy and save and maybe make the 8th spot, give up a first, give up Kennard, I'm telling you, you may as well just turn your television off for the foreseeable future. This is a very, very important crossroads for the Pistons, and this is where I am begging ownership to please act somewhat engaged. I mean, I don't know if Tom Gores resides on this planet, but this is where you must fire your president of basketball operations and your head coach. They happen to be the same guy. And you got to empower Jeff Bauer to blow this thing up. It's just impossible to watch. It really is. I mean, I don't even understand what they're trying to accomplish on a possession in, possession out basis. And they're losing to bad teams. And if you think you're going to get Reggie back and you're going to win, 65% of your games the rest of the way, we can get to the 4 seed and do what exactly? You think you're beating Milwaukee in a 7-game set? You think you're beating Philly in a 7-game set? Toronto in a 7-game set? Even Washington? You're not. I just think it's sad, honestly. We don't have NBA basketball in this town. I mean, I watched it on Friday night, sick as a dog. I went to bed right when the game was over. And I'm watching George and Greg do a promo that the Pistons are waiving fees on tickets the rest of January. What's next? Giving away a car at halftime? What is this, the Dead Wings at the Olympia? I mean, seriously. An owner that was local and engaged and on top of things would be looking at his franchise and going, my God, we've lost cabin pressure. There's no one at our games. I don't even enjoy watching them, and I own them. I got no money to improve this team because Stan spent it all. But this is my point. This is where it falls on Tom Gores. When's the last time Tom Gores was here? I mean, what are we doing? And it's not personal, and I don't want to hear anybody complaining and, oh, well, Stan's a nice guy. Dude, it's business. Stan is a terrible player personnel director. He can't do that job. As a coach, I don't mind him. But he can't pick out groceries to save his own life. I mean, I just, you know what? Hey, I understand, okay? I do. We've talked about it before. I just can't stress the importance of the next couple of weeks. This is going to shape the next couple years here in Detroit. Because, man, if you go further down this wormhole and you make the wrong decisions, somebody else is eventually going to have to come in here in a hazmat suit and clean up the mess that Stan has made. But you have an opportunity right now to double back and fix this. But it is bad. And I watched plenty of yesterday's game as it coincided with the AFC Championship game. And the commercial breaks and then the late stages after the Pats closed it tells you everything you need. I mean, it's unbelievable to me. And it's unbelievable that the owner's nowhere to be found. It's unbelievable that I got to read trade reports that the Pistons are going to try to. I mean, Friday I'm reading Pistons going to try to get involved with Kemba Walker. What planet are you on? I mean, the asking price for Kemba Walker from the Pistons would include Kennard and a first. Then I'll take on Reggie Jackson. Oh, by the way, you're taking on Batum. So you're going to mortgage out your entire future, and Batum's got an extra year, if I'm not mistaken, to Reggie's contract. Guys, you can't do business this way. I mean, it's just crazy. You know, this is a proud organization that, frankly, in the last decade has been dragged through the mud. The embarrassing pause button routine when Karen owned the team. You know, Joe outlasting his welcome, being too proud to quit when he probably wasn't allowed to add anything. Joe's inability to draft and the loyalty to players. Then you get Gores buying the team, which is a total disaster. And then SVG comes here, and you took a clean slate with cap room and picks, and you blew the whole thing. I mean, look, I know I've never been a friend to the Pistons. Like, I don't like them. I didn't like them when they were winning championships because I found the way they played basketball distasteful. But guess what? They still have a right to be a proud organization. They've brought titles home. This is a disgrace. I mean, this is as second rate as it gets. I feel like this is the New Orleans Hornets signed 2009. I feel like this is the Kings under Ronadive. It's a disgrace.